Yes. Okay, now we're on. Okay, so if you're at home watching this video, you should watch the video that I have on my calendar before you look at these notes. So stop this right now. Go to my calendar and look at the college statistics guy. Here's the 3 formulas for today. Rushing through this because blah, 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 blah. Okay, now. Again, the incompatibility of these 2 programs screws up my PowerPoint when they come in. It happens all the time. Okay, so that we just lost value in that. These are supposed to fly in after, if you can imagine. If you imagine the red, the red, the green, the blue, and the purple shouldn't be here right now, but this thing screws up all the time. All right, but there's things that you had to do. So this is what would have happened. Imagine as these fly in, this is when they appear. Oh, these computers. So the first thing you need to do, all that we have here is 26, 27, 1150, and 1100. Okay, making a correlation between standardized scores and gender. Is there a relationship between the 2 variables? Are they dependent or independent? Okay, so this is what was supposed to fly in. You're supposed to find the sum of all the rows and all the columns, and then find n, the sum of the last column and last row. Actually, it's the same. And then use that in this formula. Okay, pretend these come in now. Boom. So the totals, this is your job. See how those flew in? I don't know why they're not, it's just the incompatibility, again, of these 2 programs. So the black, the unhighlighted black is what would be given. You'd have to find the bold, which is the sum of the rows and the columns. And then I just had the red fly in. So now look at the red. Here's E11, row 1, column 1. To get its expected value, you would take 53, the sum of the column, times, okay, we're still fine, the sum of the row, 1176, divided by 2303, the total value in the far lower right corner. Then watch the green fly in. Okay, that's when it was supposed to appear. And then watch the purple fly in. And hopefully our last page, all my timings are not destroyed, let's say. Then that's when the light blue comes in. I hit it. There we go. Now here's, all joking aside, what you should do as a person, which we're all people. Given values, right next to those given values, write the expected values. I do not want to see you writing this. I'm fine. I'm okay. These are all things that you just type on your calculator, right? Very simple thing to calculate. 2 numbers multiplied together divided by another number. So don't write that down. But what you should do is calculate them and write them in the chart. So they're right there ready for you to use in your next step. Now, I did say I'm not doing this one completely. This was just an example to show you how to find that expected value for each one. That weird new formula, which isn't really difficult. Are we okay? Can I move on? Again, I am upset that the timing of my PowerPoint, it lost its value with these 2 incompatible programs. Hopefully the next page is okay. Here we go. I'm nervous. And it's not. Sometimes it's okay. But it's just random how these things work or not. So all these numbers are in. It's forced, upon me. So what's really only supposed to be given is the black in the chart. Okay, so go ahead and write that down and just pretend you don't see anything else. Angering. Okay. Marketing consultant for a travel agency wants to determine whether travel concerns are related to travel purpose. Meaning, business people traveling on business have different preferences than leisure. So there is a relationship between why you're traveling and what you care about. Okay, so I know it's not really a great thing. The last one I really like because, I'll tell you this as you're writing stuff down. I like telling the little stories. Guaranteed in insurance industry, like why do speeders get higher rates? Because they could do a test like this and see there is a correlation between accidents and speeding. And the numbers would verify it. So it's not because, they're just doing it because they're trying to get me, an excuse to raise my rates. No, it's based on statistics. And there is a correlation between the 2. So I know this one is not, whatever. But think about that as we talk about the stats class. Where does this stuff come into play? Okay, so stalling. So you'd write all this, or this would all be given. Business, 36 people. Rate number 1 is hotel room as their major concern. 108, number 1 is leg room. 14 say rental car size. 22 say something else. So that's what that means. Grand total of 180 people that traveled business. Leisure, that's their number 1 caring. And then that adds up to 120. There's 300 people involved in this total. That's what that 300 means in the far lower right corner. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video for a second. Give those that take grand notes a chance. Okay, so step 1. Remember what? See, here it comes now. All right, that's when it was supposed to appear. Step 1, you don't have to step it out, like you don't say step 1 in your homework, but the first thing you should do is identify what you're trying to find a relationship with. So again, because of the schematics of how these work and how we assess this stuff, the null hypothesis is that they're independent rules, or to make this work the way we're doing it. So the travel concerns are independent. That means there's no relationship between concerns and what your purpose for traveling is. So the alternative hypothesis is there is a relationship. There'll be a change. Business people have some different concerns than people that are traveling for leisure. And again, when you talk about the formula that's actually unfortunately already here, you could understand if there is major spreads between, based off what we did yesterday, the observed compared to the expected. The more of a spread, the more there is a difference. Therefore, there is a dependence between the two. So again, just kind of talking out loud as you're writing, which is how all people talk out loud. So again, I highlighted that this isn't always. H sub O, independent. H sub A, dependent. H sub O, no relationship. H sub A, related. Okay, so then this comes in, and that's your drawing at the bottom of your page I gave you. Okay, and then they fly in now. We're using a level of significance of 0.01, one of the two most popular, the other one 0.05. Remember that silly degrees of freedom. We have 2 rows, so it's 2 minus 1, times 4 columns, 4 minus 1. So that ends up being 1 times 3, which is 3. And then that's how you look up on the sheet that I'm holding up in class that you can't see on YouTube. You go to the 3 row and the 0.01 column. And I think we're pros at that because we've been dealing with some sort of sheet for like 2 months right now. So when you look at that sheet, do you see 11.345? Do you? Yeah, right? Just to verify that you can find that on your sheet that I provided you a couple days ago. Now remember what that means before you look at step 3, which isn't supposed to be here. Okay? That means that is the x squared value, sub c, that I compare my x squared value from the situation. To the right of this is the reject H sub O, to the left is fail. All right? So, like we said, comparative to what we've done, almost like a right-tailed test in a way. But, All right, fine. And then, do you want to write all this down? And that's when these were supposed to fly in. Okay, so as those flew in, what you should do off to the side, I'll take like one of these, this 36 here. Off to the side, or just on your calculator for 36, take 74 times 180, then divide that by 300, and then put that number right next to that. Don't write it down, okay, as far as the work for it. I don't want it. It's a waste of time. Okay, but do all those calculations and stick them right next to them. So this is the observed, this is the expected, and this is what goes in the formula. So we can take that one right here. First part of that summation, 36 minus observed minus expected squared divided by expected, plus, and then, yeah, you got to do it for every single position. So it does take a little legwork, all right, little elbow grease, I like to say. Right, and that's the only thing I really need to see on your sheet for homework, like this written out. And then above here, this just denotes, and I made a mistake. I'm missing a 4 here, right? But this denotes that on any calculator, you could type this and just go in order. So I started this off, right? I mean, getting the fraction button takes some time. So we could take 36 minus 44.4, close the parenthesis, caret, delicious, 2, divided by 44.4. Then you could just put plus and then do the next one. Before you do the next one, just double check the first one. Before you do the third one, double check your second one. You can just keep going as a string and press enter. Okay, so again, the ability in this honors statistics class to be able to type this and get a number, the correct number, should be a skill that I should be able to test. Okay, oh, now it flies in. All right, so I do have these coming up here again, and I'll shorten this up, and I'll do your calculations, and then offline you can see that you can get this number or not. Here's a number that I get out of this. And again, I have my graph coming up here so we can make our comparisons. By the way, PowerPoint works on this slide. Usually after a while it kicks in. Okay, so where are we at? If this ends up being 8.158, where are we at? Are we in the unshaded or shaded? Unshaded, because our x squared or chi-squared value sub c is 11.35, and this is smaller than that. So just pointing to that, that means the following. Now listen, this is what a lot of people have trouble with here at the end. So what I did is I wrote step 1 again as a reminder. What this means then is this is the fail to reject region. But you fail to reject this, what does that mean you do with this? If you fail to reject this, what does it mean about a sub a? You reject it. So that's what you have to do because that is your claim, which I don't know if I reread that in the question. Hopefully you read the question. That's what they were trying to claim, that they do depend upon each other. So the final thing that you write, you don't necessarily have to write this first sentence here. What we really need is the last one. We reject this, so it has to be put in context of the question. That means there is not sufficient evidence to indicate that travel concerns depend upon travel purpose, meaning they're not related. There wasn't enough evidence to show that they were related, right? Okay, so I'm going to stop. Let me do my thing of stopping the video, and then for you completing your notes, you can I'll put this back up. Okay?